I know why you're here, no point wasting your time, let's go. I first want to go over the common stuff you see most other YouTubers talking about if zelink is canon. Now, a lot of stuff about love, like the silent princess, the petals falling at the end of Breath of the Wild, and Link waiting for her in this memory, and even Cass's song can all be taken as them just being friends, not lovers. The silent princess has some ties to love thanks to this mission, but it could just show Zelda's love for others, not specifically Link. For the petals, people say how Bombson said, an endless falling pebbles like endless falling love, or something like that. But it's important to remember it's one line of dialogue for one side mission, and at the end of the Breath of the Wild could have just wanted a cool shot. For this memory, people say how Link waits and listens, staying quiet and letting Zelda rant. And to that I say,
do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
Link's a mute, he's always quiet. And for Cass's song, we have to remember that his teacher was in love with Zelda, so they could have seen her time spent with Link, got jealous, and said how she loved her knight, and at the end of the day they were just friends. They're good points, but could also equal to them just being friends. So let's look deeper. One thing we should look at is how they act to each other. Let's look at Breath of the Wild. Link is her knight. She hates that because he's so cool and is mute, so she just has to this walking reminder of her failures. But she runs off, gets attacked by the anime club, and Sir Linkadunk saves her. Now for most people, Zelda's already wet enough to turn the Gerudo Desert into an ocean. Oh, wait, she's under 18. She just has a crush on Link. However, I'm using a scary theme in the shipping community called common sense. In that if someone you hate and who you think hates you for sure saves you because it's their job, you're not going to want to marry them right then, right now. Wait, right then, right there. And honestly, considering how they talk to each other, or how Zelda talks to Link, how Ganon is still a threat right now, and, you know, they're underage, I don't think either of them is in love until the end of Breath of the Wild, at the very least. And that's not even considering the fact Link lost all his memories, which, while making for an interesting story, does make it hard to say that they're in love with each other. But we got a second game. Tears of the Kingdom, and we need to go through some things before the real game. First off, it's been about a 5-year gap between the two games, which means that both of our blonde baddies are in dating age, meaning I can make sex jokes. Christ. And now they have spent a butt ton of time together. We know this thanks to Zelda's diary and her well base, where she says how Link's been with her this whole time as she's been trying to rebuild her kingdom. And that's something interesting. Link still helps her, even though his vow to protect her is mostly nullified thanks to Ganon being gone, and the Yiga are most likely not as active. Again, this could all just be friends being friends, but it means that they spend a lot of time together, could have ended with them becoming more than just good friends. Because most of this game has Zelda set as the Light Dragon, there's not much to look over other than the start, one of Zelda's memories, and the end. To the beginning, we see Link and Zelda walking side by side instead of Zelda running away from Link like she's a cat to a vacuum cleaner. After Link beats up some discount bats, she takes the opportunity to check out Link's beautiful body. Link then grabs the torch from Zelda so that she can fangirl over some paintings. This is important because she wasn't expecting it, showing that
you could do so. You want.
Showing that he knows her enough that he feels comfortable taking the torch from her without getting any, like being able to do stuff without her command, basically. Looking at the memories, Link is rarely mentioned, but in Zelda and Sonia, we see that Zelda talked to Sonia about the mute madman, but not Rauru. Which, if she does have a crush on him, or if they were dating, it would make more sense seeing as Zelda sees the furry and his wife as dad and mom, and I believe most girls would talk to their mom about their crushes or boyfriends so that their moms can give tips to how to get their meat at the next barbecue. Well, Dad will.
Welcome to Demolition Ranch! Today, we're gonna find out, will a boyfriend stop a 50 cal? Wait, what?
Looking at the end game, we see Link grab Zelda, use himself as a shield at the water, Princess carries her out, and Zelda even saying this.
I had been sleeping all this time. But when I felt something, like a warm, loving embrace, I woke up.
So, all of this gives the idea that the two got real close by the time they headed down to meet the man who lives under my bed. But we gotta look at more, my friends, so let's see what evidence people have for the two merging the Master Sword and Triforce. Good God, this script is cringe. Next is Link's house. In Breath of the Wild, this was Link's house. Come Tears of the Kingdom, and Zelda now lives in his box of wood. So this means A, Link gave her the house, B, she kicked him out, or C, they both live there. We can cross off B, as Link has been nothing but loyal and kind to Zelda, so we can take a good guess that she wouldn't give him the boot just so that she could steal it. One important thing people bring up is how Link will sleep in the bed, which is true, and how Link never sleeps in other beds, but this is not as true. Link will sleep in Lookout Landing, this one bed in Ruto Mountains, the one here in Zora's Domain, and at one of the Oasis houses in Gerudo Desert. But there is a point in how Link never uses beds that others use. This could be a gameplay theme so Link doesn't mess with an NPC's AI, but it could also give the idea that Link only uses beds that people aren't using at the moment. Something else to consider is that couples don't share beds. They have their own beds, even if they are married. The only two who share beds, it's this guy's kids, who are pretty tiny, so it makes sense that they would share a bed. But yeah, couples just don't share beds for some reason. So, my point with all this is that if Link and Zelda were sharing the house, there'd most likely be a second bed, like most couples. Hey, this is Editing Green here, and I just wanted to note that another thing that pretty much confirms that Link did buy the house in Breath of the Wild is that you get this photo, which you also get at the end of Breath of the Wild. Not at the end, but you get at the end of the trials of Breath of the Wild. And you can place the picture here, and not only is it really cute, but it carries over between games, which is a very neat detail. What are you looking at, Link? But my point is that it's basically confirmed that, yeah, Link did buy this house. He put the painting here, and then Zelda remodeled it, but I don't know why. Or, like, I don't know why she gets the house now and not Link. One thing to note is that Zelda needed a secret well to make sure that she could hide something, and that something turns out to be the new tunic she made for Link after his old tunic got all beaten up. So maybe Link does live with her because she needed to hide it, obviously. If he didn't live with her, she could just put it out there. But the mayor's wife says how Zelda lets anyone in her house and that the kids play there, and the kids are much noisier than the stoic Link. Something else to think about is that Link can get a house in Tears of the Kingdom, but it could be argued that Link didn't want to live in his old house with Zelda being dead. One last thing I want to point out is Manny. When we talk to him, he'll say how Zelda isn't too bad looking. This tells us that Manny thinks that he has a chance with Zelda. If Zelda and Link lived together, we could guess that people in town would know, and if they were dating, I don't know why they would hide it. And we know Manny doesn't try with people who are with someone. In Breath of the Wild, he targets Perma. But come Tears of the Kingdom, she's married to an emo man, so Manny targets Eevee, to the point that she is scared of him while she sleeps. What's worse is that her mother is right next to all of this at this well. Lady, come get this guy's eyes off your daughter's ass. Moving on, what I'm trying to say is that if Manny thinks that he has a chance with Zelda, that means he thinks that she's not in a relationship. Hey, I'm back, editing me back. Just wanted to also mention that there's this love pond, which in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Link will always go alone at, assuming you beat the quest in Breath of the Wild. The reason this is important is because apparently in the lore, if two people are destined to be together, they'll end up meeting at this pond, assumingly. Like, it's one way you can meet your true love or whatnot. However, in the, this wouldn't be important on its own, but in the, switch to voice memory thingies, we learned that Zelda went here. If you, both when she was, before the Calamity and after, defeating Ganon. Which means either A, she was able to go here alone, which is incredibly irresponsible. 2, she was accompanied with guards, which is not only more than 2, so it gets kind of weird. But as a whole, it's just not as fun and just kind of gross, if I'm honest, if we're going that route. Or she went with Link, and therefore the two of them, when they first got here, were with each other. So, I don't know. It's another, I'm just kind of throwing my hat in the ring. It's just another piece of evidence you could look at. But yeah, back to the normal video. How about we do something no one ever does and look at the characters and see if they fit with each other. Looking at character traits, we know that Zelda is smart, kind, hates having others sacrifice anything for her, determined, loyal, curious, and brave. However, has some flaws, such as being short-tempered, insecure, overburdens herself, and quite stubborn. As for Link's character, moving on, fine. There's some things we can go over. Link is stupid loyal, sticking to Zelda despite her best tries to make him do anything but. He is a glutton from Zelda's diary. He is kind and does whatever he can by proof of the fact that he'll do literally any side quest. And of course, he is stoic from the time he had being her knight and having to be the wielder of the Master Sword. So with all that, I have to ask, what makes Link attractive? Link's aside, because this game makes it clear Link's good looking, he doesn't have any traits that seem would be in a good relationship. Now the only woman I've seen is the one who goes in her basement to get disappointed at her son, but Link being a mute and reserved makes it hard to think he'd be a good partner. Now the part I've been waiting for, his dick! Yes, this is relevant. So that we can further kick Link in his non-existent nuts, I don't think I need to say why a lack of PP is going to make a relationship hard. Not saying that losing your wiener means you can't find love, I'm not trying to say anything like that. Just saying it's a bit of a turn-off because you can't get turned on. Watch this video to A, feed my massive ego, and B, to see why Link has no testes. But TLDR, he might not have a hot dog, but it's up to the player. So, with everything we looked over, we can say, for sure, whether or not zelink is canon. Drumroll please, I am proud to say that the answer to whether Link and Zelda are in love is... it doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares if Link and Zelda are together? Who cares if he's with Purah, or Yunobo, or if he's the side dude to Yonya with Sidon? And I'm not trying to be mean here. There's nothing wrong with thinking zelink is canon, but you have to accept the fact that there's going to be a change between different people. Me personally, I could not give less of a shit. But some people think differently, and that is completely fine. What is not fine is bullying those who you disagree with, harassing people who think what happened after a video game is something that you didn't think what happened after that video game, and being an asshole over something like this. With how out of hand shipping can get, it sucks that something that should be just for fun is now a war zone for something that doesn't even matter. With everything going on, and with you just having a life, please spend it not bullying people over pointless stuff. And this is coming from someone who did that. I, now very shamefully, used to comment on a Wattpad fanfic and basically bullied people for liking something that was stupid. To the point the writer had to call me out and tell me to stop twice. If you find that story and see my comments and somehow connect the dots that it's me and you want to call me out for being an asshole, modern me completely agrees. At the end of the day, just let people have fun with shipping, or let people just think that they're friends. Nintendo themselves have said that Link and Zelda are meant to be interpreted by each player, and that there's no definitive answer. Just don't be mean, because at the end of the day, whether or not zelink is canon or not, it doesn't matter. But that's no excuse for writing dog fan fiction stories that are about as well written as fucking Twilight. If you're going to make an entire story shipping them, you can at least make it a good story, you stupid piece of shit!